Today on Public Eye News, NMU wraps up homecoming and more controversy pours out of the nation's capital.
Samantha Carter will join us later with updates on all things sports, and Adam Diaz takes a look at our cloudy Marquette Monday. Hi, I'm Caleb Rydell.
And I'm Grant Lukens, and this is Public Eye News. Northern Michigan University wrapped up homecoming week on September 22nd following a week-long celebration. The parade through Marquette included around 50 floats from different halls and clubs, and the day concluded with the Wildcats taking on the Ferris State Bulldogs. The game wasn't all it was cracked up to be, however, and the Wildcats lost to the Bulldogs 35-19. NMU's Cannabis Association for Responsible Education, or CARE, is hosting a medical cannabis symposium. The event will cover a large range of cannabis-related topics, like its chemistry and pharmacology, the social impact of legalization, Michigan laws, and medical cannabis in K-12 schools. Professors, lawyers, and industry experts will all be speaking in the event. The event is located in the Great Lakes Room at the University Center. Doors will open 10 a.m. and the program will run till 4 p.m.
The Dickinson County Healthcare System, or DCHS, is looking into the process for filing bankruptcy. As UP Health System stated last week that it did not acquire the DCHS due to financial losses on the side of the DCHS, things are not going well for the Iron Mountain Hospital. The Board of Trustees for DCHS were called to a meeting this morning, and they have scheduled a meeting Tuesday with Mike Cilello, where he will recommend the board authorize the retention of bankruptcy counsel. Governor Rick Snyder's office has offered to help with the DCHS with bankruptcy management, but it appears as though the hospital does not fall under the state's emergency manager law. Strong winds in the middle of the day Friday have caused people in the Chippewa County to lose power. The initial power outage left over 12,000 services powerless. As many of the other services have been restored, there is still some that have not. Around 250 members of the Cloverland Electric Cooperative are still without power, and for those who haven't had their power restored, may want to make arrangements as the line crews will be working on them, but they have no way of knowing when they will be fixed.
The historic Mount Shasta has finished renovations and has officially reopened. Scott Holman was inspired by the history and the atmosphere of the building to reopen it. Roughly 800 square feet of flooring has been redone, and a mini bar was put in, along with some exterior work. Mount Shasta is serving lunch Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Michigan State has received a $400,000 grant from the National Science Foundation to examine how information spread during and after Hurricane Maria, which hit Puerto Rico last September. Researchers hope to find out why infrastructure failed and how crisis communication was used before, during, and after the hurricane. The information will be put out in a book, a website, and a documentary about the victims' lives. Researchers hope this information will help places in a similar situation as Puerto Rico. And after this break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
Next time on The Great American Read.
Everything about this book is magical.
This is real life stuff. It's painful. It's not just a story. It's things that happen.
Invisible Man is the incredible tour de force that explored race in a new way.
The Help, Invisible Man, and Charlotte's Web are just a few of the books we'll explore when we celebrate heroes on The Great American Read.
Tuesday night at 8 and Wednesday afternoon at 1.
Welcome back. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein is facing the Trump administration cold shoulder as he is potentially forced out of the office by the president. This comes after an unsigned opinion piece by Rosenstein in the New York Times that has argued in favor of Trump's suspicions that there were those in the Republican Party trying to undermine him. The referred to article made mention of the 25th Amendment, which concerns the removal of the president from the office, but Rosenstein has stated that the article was biased and his opinions were based on sarcasm. Trump has yet to decide whether or not he is going to fire Rosenstein, a move that has mixed reactions and many experts claiming that it would be disastrous to the Trump administration. A second woman has come forward accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct. This comes after the first accuser agreed to testify about her allegations before the Senate Judiciary Committee later this week. Nicole Killian has more details from Capitol Hill.
Deborah Ramirez, a former Yale classmate of Judge Brett Kavanaugh, has given an interview with the New Yorker magazine where she alleges Judge Kavanaugh exposed himself at a drunken dormitory party. Her memories contain gaps because she had been drinking at the time of the alleged incident. But some of her classmates confirmed to Ronan Farrow and Jane Mayer they were told at the time about it, while others said they had zero recollection.
We compared the accounts of these two people who've never spoken to each other, Deborah Ramirez and the person who heard about it that night. They were identical. They have all the same details, same location. It seemed that there was something to this.
Kavanaugh himself called it a smear and said this alleged event from 35 years ago did not happen. The people who knew me then know that this did not happen and have said so.
These are highly unsubstantiated statements from people represented by lawyers. Judge Kavanaugh is an outstanding person, and I am with them all the way.
The new accusation came out after the first woman to accuse Kavanaugh of sexual misconduct agreed to testify about her allegations this week on Capitol Hill. California Democrat Dianne Feinstein is now calling for Thursday's hearing with Christine Blasey Ford to be canceled, while other Senate Democrats called on Kavanaugh to withdraw due to a pattern of conduct, saying it's time for a new nominee.
Every single one who are calling for delay, obstruction, and resistance already said they wouldn't vote for Judge Kavanaugh. This is politics.
Protesters demonstrated outside Senator Susan Collins' office Monday morning. Collins is one of the Republicans who has not yet announced whether she will support Kavanaugh's confirmation. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, President Trump has announced to the United Nations on Monday that he will be hosting another summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un quite soon. Some are saying having another summit is a pointless endeavor because North Korea hasn't given up their nuclear weapons. But Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says, quote, "We've been at this other ways and it hasn't worked. Step for step and trade for trade hasn't worked. So we're bringing them together to move forward," unquote. Trump is also set to renegotiate the South Korean trade deal to put America first in the negotiation table. This is Child Passenger Safety Week, and safety advocates are reminding parents to make sure their car seats are properly installed. John Shumo reports.
I think the harness does have to come up. Do you know how to do that?
No. Danielle Brandt brought her car seat to this New Jersey inspection station and found out she made some mistakes.
I learned that it's great for the car seat to be in the center of the car versus on one of the outboard positions, which is where we had it before.
Studies show that most parents incorrectly install car seats.
Keep it from moving around the vehicle.
Christine Marcantonio is the Traffic Safety Program Coordinator for the Union County Police Department.
8 out of 10 people get it wrong.
8 out of 10 people coming through here, we will find something wrong with the installation.
She says a common mistake parents make is moving kids from rear-facing seats to front-facing seats too early. The American Academy of Pediatrics now recommends leaving small children rear-facing until they hit the manufacturer's maximum height and weight.
A rear-facing seat actually moves with the child, so it protects the vulnerable parts of the body, the head, neck, and spine.
And on front-facing seats, she says many parents forget to use the back tether. This video shows the tethered seat on the bottom prevents the child from slamming into the front seat. September 29th is National Seat Check Saturday. At events nationwide, parents can have car seats inspected.
We do recommend that if you can find a place to help you inspect your seat and make sure it's properly installed, that you do.
Because a child in a car seat that's installed correctly faces a much lower risk of being injured in a crash. John Shumo, CBS News, Garwood, New Jersey.
And after this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
An infant with a defective heart survives because of a transplant.
It's terrifying.
But replacement organs are precious and few.
Patients die waiting for a transplant.
Their source? Another family's devastating loss.
Matthew's organs will be donated.
Can scientists solve the transplant crisis?
Look at that.
By repairing and rebuilding organs.
Have them beat again? That's awesome.
Transplanting Hope on Nova.
Wednesday night at 9 on Public TV 13.
Hi, and welcome back to your Public Eye News weather. I'm Adam Diaz, your weatherman, and behind me we're looking at NMU's campus where the sun is starting to peek through the clouds. And we're looking at our current conditions. It is partly cloudy. Temperature is at 66 degrees. Winds is at south 17 miles an hour. Barometric pressure is at 30 and falling. And looking towards tonight, we are looking at some showers. The low of 56, and the winds will be south-southwest at 15 miles an hour. Looking at tomorrow, we're looking at some rain. The high of 59, and winds will be north-northwest at 11 miles an hour. Looking around the UP, we are looking at mostly clouds, but we are seeing spots where it is being sunny. Starting at Sault Ste. Marie, 57 degrees. Manistique at 54. Escanaba at 53. Menominee at 64. And we're moving over to Iron Mountain at 63. And Ironwood, 71 and sunny. Houghton, 68 and sunny. And beautiful Marquette at 66 and partly cloudy. And looking ahead, we are looking at Wednesday, the high of 57, the low of 45, and partly cloudy. Thursday is the high of 56, the low of 44, and showers. And Friday, we're looking at the low of 52 and the low of 40, the low of 40 and the high of 52 and partly cloudy. We're looking at a little bit of a gloom week, but here you have some news on the NMU football game.
Yeah, that news is pretty gloom too. Although Northern Michigan University was celebrating homecoming this week, they didn't have much to celebrate after facing number 6 ranked Ferris State. In spite of their 35-19 loss, the Wildcats were able to make a few memorable plays. Senior running back Jake Mayon ended the day with 97 yards on 23 carries and is now less than 600 yards from breaking NMU's record and becoming the leading rusher in school history. With Friday's loss, NMU's record now stands at 1-3 overall and 0-2 in the GLIAC. The Cats will now be on the road for their next game against Davenport University, where they hope to achieve their first GLIAC win of the season. And in other NMU sports news, hockey season is on the horizon. Although the WCHA regular season isn't starting for another month, polls of the WCHA coaches and media favor Minnesota State to be this year's champions once again. Although Minnesota State was last year's WCHA regular season champion, they were defeated in the playoffs by Michigan Tech. That win led to NMU hosting Michigan Tech for last season's WCHA championship game. As hockey season nears closer, NMU fans should start marking their calendars. The first home game of the season will be on October 26th against Bemidji State. And Tiger Woods fans are excitedly claiming that the golf pro is his old self again after his 80th PGA Tour victory at the Tour Championship this weekend. Woods shot to the top of the leaderboard on Thursday with a 65, remained tied through 36 holes, and broke away on Saturday where he remained uncatchable. What makes this wild redemption story even more remarkable is that it follows comments less than a year and a half ago that Woods might never come back to the sport. The sea of spectators that swarmed Woods as the tournament closed proved that even if Woods isn't fully back to the level he used to compete at, he is certainly on his way there. Well, Caleb, this is a pretty crazy, pretty wild story to think that this kind of washed-up golf player was gonna come back from behind and win. And I heard you've got a story that's pretty crazy in its own right.
I have some people in Texas that were monkeying around a little bit, Sam. A Texas prison went bananas this week over $18 million worth of cocaine. The Texas Department of Criminal Justice posted on Facebook that they found 540 packages of cocaine inside of 45 boxes of bananas that were donated to a Texas prison. The bananas were donated because they were already ripe. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection are currently investigating the incident.
But that's all the time we have for you here today at Public Eye News. Tune in again tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.